I didn't hear anything. I didn't smell anything. I didn't even feel the cold from the open fridge behind me as I stood there, staring at the phone screen. The video call had just ended. Or rather, I ended it. But not before I saw what I saw her. Emily, my wife of 5 years. On our bed. Laughing. Half covered in one of my shirts, the one she always used to steal when she wanted to feel extra cozy. And right next to her, with his hand on her thigh like he paid the mortgage, some guy I've never seen in my damn life. Let's rewind a bit. It's not like I was oblivious. I saw the signs, yeah. I think part of me didn't want to believe it. You tell yourself she's just stressed. Work's been crazy. Maybe it's a phase. But no. Sometimes a duck is just a damn duck, and sometimes your wife is just cheating on you with a gym rat named Troy or Chase or whatever clown name this guy probably has. She started with little things. Less eye contact. Less physical affection. Not in the dramatic, I'm mad at you kind of way, just the slow, rotting kind of silence between us. It's like watching something you built with your bare hands decay one day at a time and being powerless to stop it. Like watching termites crawl out from inside the wood of a house you thought was solid. About 2 months ago, she suddenly decided she needed to get healthy. Bought new leggings. Joined a gym. Bought supplements. Suddenly had an obsession with green smoothies and late-night stretching sessions. I remember teasing her one night, lighthearted like we used to do, and I said, "You sure do love working out more than hanging with your husband lately." She didn't even look up from her phone. Just muttered, "Maybe you should try it too." That one stung more than I let on. But I laughed it off. That's what you do when you don't want to admit something's wrong. The phone thing was next. Always face down. Always on silent. Going to the bathroom and taking it with her. She even changed her lock screen password, which she had never done before. I asked her once what it was. She shrugged and said, "Oh, I changed it when we were at that security seminar at work. Company policy." I bought it. I really did. Because I wanted to. You don't want to believe the person you built a life with is actively building a second life behind your back. Then came the nights she came home late. Always some excuse. We stayed after class for core. Traffic was crazy. I went for a protein shake with the girls. The girls, by the way, never existed. Or if they did, they sure as hell weren't the ones sending her laughing emojis and hearts at midnight. I had started to feel something twist in my stomach every time she said, "Love you," before heading out. Like it was rehearsed. Like the words had been wrung dry of all meaning. Then came last night. I was in the kitchen. Heating leftovers. She was at the gym. My phone buzzed. Video call. From her. I froze. Maybe it was pocket dialed. Maybe she needed something. I answered. The screen was shaky. For a second it was dark. Then it focused. And it all came together. She was on the bed. Our bed. Hair damp, not from sweat. From a shower. Laughing. Her face was flushed the way it used to get when we'd fool around on lazy Sunday mornings. But that smile wasn't for me. She was looking at him. He was shirtless. Muscular. Big arms. Tattoos. Maybe late 20s. Maybe younger. He looked like he hadn't worked a real job a day in his life. He kissed her neck. She said, "Stop, that tickles," and giggled in a way I haven't heard in over a year. She hadn't realized she was calling me. I ended the call without saying a word. Then I stood there. Silent. Pasta turning cold. My chest tight, but not from panic. It was like standing still while everything around you accelerates, thoughts, memories, plans, regrets. All of it flashing like a broken projector. I didn't cry. I didn't throw anything. I walked to the bedroom, our bedroom, and looked at the closet. Her side was half open. Neat rows of shoes she hadn't worn around me in months. Dresses. A drawer with perfume I hadn't smelled in our house for weeks. The air reeked of unfamiliarity. I grabbed my duffel bag and started packing. Slowly. Deliberately. Shirt. Jeans. Socks. Toothbrush. Chargers. I left the ring on her pillow. As I walked down the hallway, I passed the photo from our wedding in Maui. She looked so damn happy in that photo. And I looked like a guy who genuinely believed in forever. I didn't smash the frame. I didn't even take it with me. I opened the door, stepped outside, and closed it behind me with a soft click. It was cold. I wasn't wearing shoes. I didn't care. The only thought in my head was, she doesn't know yet. But she will. The street was dead quiet. One of those nights where even the wind seemed to hold its breath. I sat in the car for what must have been 15 minutes, engine off, staring at the dashboard like it might tell me what to do next. My phone buzzed once. It was a text from Emily. Just finished class, heading home soon, flexed biceps, face-blowing kiss. I stared at it. That emoji combo she used to send me every time she wanted to pretend like things were okay between us. Just finished class. Class. I literally just saw you in bed with some guy who probably doesn't even know your middle name. That was the first time I felt it. Heat. Not grief. Not confusion. Heat. Not the kind that burns you alive, but the kind that pulses in your jaw, clenches your fists, makes your leg bounce uncontrollably. My whole body tensed. I don't know if I wanted to scream, cry, or laugh. But I didn't do any of that. I turned on the engine and drove. I didn't know where I was going until I was already halfway there. My best friend Jason lived 20 minutes away. We'd known each other since sophomore year of college. If anyone was going to give me clarity, or at least not ask too many questions, it was him. I pulled into his driveway around 1 a.m., headlights off. Rang the bell. He opened the door in basketball shorts and a t-shirt, half asleep but instantly alert when he saw my face. He didn't ask anything at first. Just stepped aside and said, "Get in." I dropped the bag on his floor and finally let out a breath. "I think Emily's cheating on me," I said, voice flat, almost robotic. He blinked. "What?" "Wait, think." "No. Not think." "I know." Then I told him everything. The call. The video. What I saw. Word for word, detail by detail, like I was reporting a damn crime. Jason didn't interrupt. He didn't say, "Bro, no way," or "Are you sure?" He just listened. And when I was done, he shook his head and said, "What the hell are you gonna do now?" And the truth was I didn't know. Not yet. But I knew I wasn't going to text her back. Not yet. Let her think I was asleep. Let her walk into that house, see the ring, see the empty closet, and feel the floor start to crack under her perfectly manicured toes. That night, I didn't sleep much. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face, that laugh, that hand on her thigh that didn't belong there. I wondered if this was the first time. I wondered if it even mattered. The next morning, around 6:42 a.m., my phone blew up. For missed calls, Emily. 2 voicemails. Texts. "Ty? Where are you? Did you go somewhere? Why is your stuff gone? What the hell is going on? Tyler, answer me. If this is about last night, we need to talk. Please." I stared at that last one. If this is about last night. So she knew. The moment she saw the call log. She knew she called me by accident. I didn't reply. She called again around 7:03 a.m. I answered. "No, hello. Tyler," she said, her voice all breathless panic. "Please, can we just talk?" I waited. Let the silence stew. Then I asked, "Who is he?" That's when the switch flipped in her. The sweet, panicked voice hardened into something clipped, defensive. "It's not what it looked like." I almost laughed. "You were in bed with him, Emily. On our bed. What exactly was I looking at then?" Silence. Then it was a mistake. I was confused. "You've been distant. I didn't mean for you to find out like that." Like that. Like the method of discovery was the real crime here. I said nothing. "You don't understand," she continued. "You've been so cold lately. You never even touch me anymore." Oh, that argument. The classic. Blame the person you betrayed for why you betrayed them. Textbook. I finally said, "So, because I wasn't touching you enough, you let someone else?" "That's not fair," she snapped. "You weren't there. Emotionally. Mentally. We haven't been close in months. I tried to talk to you about it. You always brushed it off." "You mean like how you brushed off every time I asked who Jess from work was?" She fell silent again. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. My voice didn't even rise. I think that's what unnerved her the most, how calm I was. Then I said it. "I'm not coming back. Not now. Maybe not ever. I'm going to file. Don't contact me unless it's about logistics." She panicked again. Begged. Shifted back into sweet Emily. The one who used to kiss my forehead before work and bring home little gifts just because. I didn't buy it. Because she killed that version of herself. The silence after I hung up was almost violent. Jason was sitting across from me on the living room couch, sipping his coffee, watching me with that cautious look he gets when he's not sure if I'm about to break something or just fall apart. I didn't do either. I just stared at the black screen of my phone like the thing might start bleeding if I looked long enough. "She tried to flip it," I muttered. Jason raised an eyebrow. "Flip it how?" Said I was cold. That I hadn't been affectionate. That she was confused. Jason set his mug down slowly. "Bro, she got caught with some dude in your bed. That's not confusion, that's disrespect." It was more than disrespect. It was surgical. Like she knew exactly how to gut me and leave just enough blood in my body for me to keep walking around like nothing happened. And you want to know the worst part? I wasn't even surprised. Because now that the fog was lifting, now that I was sitting here with time to think and a stomach that had been hollowed out by reality, I saw it. All of it. The moments I excused. The lies I helped her tell by pretending to believe them. The nights I told myself she was just tired when she rolled over with her back to me, clutching her phone like it was more alive than I was. I asked myself the question every idiot in my situation asks: when did it start? Was it that business trip she took 3 months ago? The one where she came back oddly energized? Or was it before that, when she suddenly started working late, saying her team had Q4 deadlines that didn't match up with anything I could verify? I remembered one night in particular. She came home after 11 p.m. Said she and the girls got drinks after hot yoga. I asked what bar. She blinked. Hesitated. Then said, oh, just someplace near the studio, I forget the name. I offered to pick her up next time so she didn't have to Uber. She snapped, I can take care of myself. Yeah, that was the night. That was when the version of her I married was officially gone. I spent most of that day on Jason's couch answering texts from my sister who'd heard something was up through the grapevine and trying to draft some kind of plan. I couldn't go home yet. Not just because of her, but because of me. Because if I went back now, before I had time to own what happened, I'd break. And if I broke in front of her, she'd use it. Twist it. She was that kind of person now. At 2:16 p.m., Emily emailed me. Not texted. Emailed. Like this was some sort of HR issue. Subject, can we please talk like adults? Tyler. I know you're hurt and you're angry. I am too. I wish you'd just come home so we could talk face to face and figure this out. There are things you don't understand. It's more complicated than you think. What you saw wasn't supposed to happen like that. I'm not proud of it. But we were broken before this. We need to talk. I still love you. M. I stared at the words I still love you for a long time. It was strange, those words used to mean everything. Now they just looked like decorations taped onto a corpse. Jason leaned over, saw the email, and said, you gonna respond? I shook my head. No. I'm going to start documenting. Because now the shift had to happen. No more heartbreak, no more pacing the floor like a ghost. I was moving to strategy. I wasn't going to get pulled into emotional ping-pong with someone who had rehearsed her lies so well she probably believed them herself. So I started compiling. Screenshots. Notes. Dates. The video call log. Her texts. I wrote everything down, timestamped it. Not for revenge. Not to get her back. But because I knew the moment I filed, she'd flip the narrative. Play the victim. She had the charm. The looks. The social sway. I had to be ready. At 5 p.m., Jason's girlfriend came by and I took the hint. I needed to find my own space. I booked a hotel for 3 nights. Nothing fancy, just quiet. Just mine. Walking into that room with my little bag felt weirdly freeing. Like I was 20 again on a road trip living out of a suitcase. Only this time I wasn't chasing adventure, I was running from betrayal. That night, around 10:30 p.m., my phone buzzed again. Another call from her. I didn't answer. 10 minutes later, another voicemail. I played it. Tyler, I know you're ignoring me. Please, I'm begging you. That guy, he doesn't mean anything to me. It was a mistake, I was lonely. I swear it was the first time. I panicked when I saw I called you. I never meant for you to find out that way. Please, we can fix this. I'll do anything. There it was again. The word that stuck like glass in my throat, anything. Because I remembered saying that once. On our anniversary. We were broke, behind on rent, fighting every other week. I looked her in the eye and said, I'll do anything to make this work. Just don't give up on me. Funny how easily people forget the things you whisper when they're too busy moaning someone else's name in the bed you built together. I didn't respond. I turned the phone off. I stood at the window for a while, watching cars pass on the freeway. I wondered if one of them held a guy like me, just driving, just escaping, just trying to remember what life was like before his heart got ripped out through his own damn trust. And for the first time in days, I felt something I hadn't expected. Clarity. Because now I knew I wasn't the broken one. She was. The next morning started quiet, but that didn't last. At 8:07 a.m., my phone vibrated against the nightstand with the kind of persistence that told me she wasn't going to back off. 9 texts. 3 missed calls. A voice memo which I didn't even bother to open. I just stared at the screen for a second before tossing the phone onto the bed and letting it buzz until it stopped. I stood in the hotel bathroom, staring at my own reflection. I looked like hell. Like someone who hadn't slept properly in 3 nights. The weight under my eyes wasn't just exhaustion, it was grief wearing my face like a mask. But behind all of it, I could feel the edges of something else sharpening resolve. By noon, I'd already spoken to a lawyer. I didn't know exactly what I wanted yet, but I knew what I didn't want, to keep floating in this limbo while she got to control the tempo of everything. I explained the situation as calmly as I could, told the lawyer about the call, what I saw, how I left, what she'd been doing. He didn't flinch. Apparently, people like Emily aren't exactly rare. He asked me what I was hoping for. I said clean break. No games. I want to be free of her. He nodded, made a few notes, then said, start gathering financials. Anything joint. Bank statements, property titles, passwords, shared accounts. Don't confront her again. Let her keep digging her own hole. I thanked him, walked out, and sat in the car with the AC running, staring at the steering wheel like it had answers. I wasn't scared of her anymore. Not after seeing her lie so easily. But I was scared of the process, what this kind of ending would do to a person. What it might still do to me. Back at the hotel, I found an old shoebox in my duffel bag. One of those things I never got around to throwing away. It was full of memories. A photo strip from a fair we went to in 19. A note she left me on our second anniversary, you are my safe place. A receipt from a random diner in Ohio where we got caught in the rain and laughed about the worst pancakes we'd ever had. I stared at those pieces of paper like they belonged to someone else's life. They didn't feel like mine anymore. They didn't even feel real. That afternoon I sent her one message. One line. I've spoken to a lawyer. Don't contact me unless it's about logistics. Her reply came less than a minute later. So that's it? You're just walking away from everything. No apology. No ownership. Just pure guilt manipulation. I didn't respond. She tried again 2 hours later. You're really going to throw away a marriage over one mistake? One stupid mistake. And there it was, the mask slipping. That word, stupid. That's what it was to her. Not betrayal. Not humiliation. Not a nuclear-grade violation of trust. Just stupid. Like she forgot to pick up milk or double paid the gas bill. That night, she finally made the move I'd been half dreading, half expecting. She showed up. I heard the knock at the hotel door around 9 p.m. It was sharp. Rushed. 3 hits, then a pause. I looked through the peephole. Emily. I didn't open it. I just stood there, watching her shift from foot to foot like she was standing on fire. Her arms crossed, a hoodie pulled over her tank top, messy hair, trying to look pitiful. Like this was all just a misunderstanding between two tired people. She knocked again. Tyler, please. I just want to talk. I didn't move. Her voice got louder. You're really going to hide behind a hotel door now? After 5 years? You don't even have the balls to face me. There it was. The real her. Crawling up out of the sweet facade like a snake shedding its skin. She slammed her palm against the door. You think you're perfect? You're not. You've been absent for months. You made me feel invisible. Still, I didn't answer. Then she lowered her voice. I'll tell everyone you abandoned me. Don't think people won't believe me. You walked out. You're the one running away, not me. I finally spoke. Through the door, calm and cold, Emily, I saw you with him. I don't need to hear anything else. Silence. I think she realized in that moment that she didn't have the upper hand anymore. She said nothing. Just stood there, breathing hard. Then I heard her footsteps retreat. Slowly. Like she couldn't believe I wasn't going to chase her. But I didn't. I locked the door. And I didn't look back. The next morning came like a shift in weather, no warning, no real change in light or temperature, but everything just felt different. I slept. Actually slept. Not for long, maybe 5 hours, but it was the kind of sleep that comes after making a hard choice. It wasn't peaceful, but it was solid. Final. I spent the early part of the day on my laptop in the hotel lounge, sipping awful coffee and going through the steps my lawyer sent me. Pulling up bank records, changing passwords, unlinking accounts. Each click felt like a tiny divorce of its own, untangling my name from hers, one subscription, one shared service, one email at a time. Around noon, I got a message from our mutual friend Amanda. She'd been at our wedding. She even caught the damn bouquet. Her text was short, but it punched like a brick. Hey. Emily told me what happened. If you need anything, I'm here. Also, she's lying to people. That second line hit me harder than I expected. I called Amanda right away. She picked up fast, voice cautious. Tyler. I wasn't sure if I should reach out. I got straight to the point. What's she saying? Amanda sighed. She's telling people you left her out of nowhere. That you had a breakdown, that you've been distant and cruel for months. That you won't talk to her and won't go to therapy. I closed my eyes. She was already rewriting history. Fast. Efficient. Like she'd been preparing this script the whole time, just in case. Did she mention the other guy? I asked. Silence. No, Amanda said, quiet. Not once. She made it sound like you just snapped. Like you were unstable. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because of how predictable it was. The last gasps of a person who couldn't handle losing control. Amanda added, "Look, I don't know what the truth is. But the way she's acting, it's weird. She's calling people. A lot of people. Like panic calling. I think she knows she screwed up." I thanked her, told her not to pick sides, just to watch and keep her eyes open. And to save screenshots if Emily kept spinning the story. After I hung up, I felt it rage again. Not the yelling kind. The quiet kind. The kind that moves low and deep and makes your thoughts sharp. It wasn't enough that she tore everything apart. Now she wanted to set the whole narrative on fire and dance in the smoke. But the best thing I did that day? I didn't bite. I didn't respond. I didn't try to clear the air with anyone or rush to defend myself. That's how they trap you, by dragging you into the mess they made, then blaming you for how dirty it looks. Instead, I made more calls. I locked down my credit. Booked another week in a new place across town, one she didn't know about. Set up a new checking account under just my name. Quiet. Calculated. Like a man packing up the battlefield after the bombs have already gone off. That night, just before midnight, I got one last message from her. "You really don't care, do you? After everything? You're just done? That's cold, Tyler. No apology. No truth. Just guilt?" I stared at the message for a long time. And then I did the thing I should have done the moment I saw her with him on that call. I blocked her. Phone. Email. Social. Every possible door she could crawl through, I slammed shut. Because this wasn't about a marriage anymore. This was about survival. And for the first time in a long time, I was finally choosing mine. You'd think once you block her, once you unplug yourself from the machine she's been feeding off of, things would go quiet. Peaceful. Like flipping off the light in a room that's been too bright for too long. But that's not what happened. 2 days after I cut all contact, I got a message from her sister, Megan. "Hey, Emily's a wreck. She's crying nonstop. She told me everything. You don't have to throw her away over one stupid mistake. She's still your wife." There it was again. Stupid mistake. Like it was some minor clerical error. Like she backed into a mailbox or forgot to pay a bill. Not like she invited another man into our home, our marriage bed, and called me by accident in the middle of it. That moment, the way Megan parroted Emily's excuse like it was gospel, flipped a switch in me. I called her. Megan answered, voice soft. "Tyler?" "Let me guess," I said flatly. "She told you I abandoned her. That I won't answer. That I've been distant for months." Megan hesitated. "Well, yeah. And that you won't go to therapy. That you just disappeared." I almost laughed. "Did she tell you I watched her with some guy in our bed over video call? That I saw her with my own eyes? That I didn't hear a rumor?" "Megan, I witnessed it." Silence. She hadn't heard that part. I let the silence breathe. Then I added, "I'm not the villain here. Don't let her use you to rewrite the story. You want to support your sister? Fine. But don't come to me acting like I'm the one who broke this." Megan's voice cracked a little. "She didn't tell me that. I swear. She just said you were done and wouldn't give her a chance. She had her chance. And she used it to humiliate me." I hung up. I wasn't angry anymore. Not the loud kind. I was done. I wasn't chasing the truth through back channels. I wasn't explaining myself to anyone she fed her half-truths to. Let them think whatever they want. That's the trap, trying to make people believe you. Defend yourself. Clean up her mess. No more. By the end of that week, I had a new apartment lined up. Small. Unfurnished. But mine. A key that only belonged to me. Walls she'd never stepped inside. I signed the lease that Friday and walked into the space with nothing but a bag, a mattress still rolled in plastic, and a coffee maker. And I smiled. Not because I was happy. I wasn't there yet. But because it was mine. No lies. No late-night video calls that end in destruction. No gaslighting or "you're overreacting" or "we were already broken." Just silence. On move-in day, Jason came by with a six-pack and a folding chair and said, "Well, it's depressing as hell in here. But also kinda perfect." We sat on the floor. Didn't talk much. Didn't need to. At some point he asked, "You ever gonna talk to her again?" I shook my head. There's nothing left to say. The next day, I filed the papers. Divorce. Simple, uncontested. No shared kids. No shared property. Just shared memories and a deep, raw scar that would take months, maybe years, to fade. When the envelope slid across the lawyer's desk and I signed my name on the dotted line, I didn't feel what I thought I would. No relief. No rage. Just finality. Like nailing shut the door of a house that had been on fire too long to save. I walked out into the parking lot, stood by my car, and let the sun hit my face. It felt like the first time I'd seen daylight in weeks. And for the first time, I didn't feel broken. I felt free. It had been 10 days since I saw the video call. 10 days since everything cracked down the middle and bled out across my life. In that time, I moved out, filed, blocked her, and started carving out this strange, bare-bones version of freedom. But there's a truth they don't tell you about getting out. Just because you left the fire doesn't mean the smoke's done choking you. I'd be sitting on the floor of my empty living room, folding laundry on a cardboard box, and out of nowhere a memory would hit: her laugh in the kitchen, her humming in the shower, the way she used to curl her toes when she stretched in the morning. I hated how those moments came without warning, uninvited, like little landmines scattered across my brain. But then I'd remember what I saw. That look on her face. How comfortable she was with him. How familiar. That wasn't a mistake. That was routine. People kept reaching out. Not a lot, but enough to keep my phone vibrating. A couple of her friends who wanted to hear my side. One of my cousins even asking if I was sure I wasn't overreacting. Overreacting. That word. Like it's possible to underreact to your wife accidentally FaceTiming you while she's tangled up in someone else. I stopped explaining. Stopped responding. If someone didn't already get it, they weren't going to. And then came the letter. A white envelope in my mailbox. No return address. Just my name in her handwriting. Slanted. Precise. Manipulative. I opened it. Hand steady. Inside was 2 pages of classic Emily. Tyler, I know you won't answer my calls, so I'm writing instead. I've had time to think, and I need you to know I never meant to hurt you. You've always been my best friend, my anchor, even when things weren't good between us. I know what I did was unforgivable, but I was lost. You stopped seeing me. I felt invisible. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just needed you to know I'm sorry. I'll never stop loving you. There it was again. That soft, scripted sorrow. That twisted ability she had to say just enough to make you question your own pain. But I didn't bite. I folded the letter slowly, walked to the kitchen, and dropped it in the trash. I didn't burn it. Didn't rip it up. Just dropped it like expired milk. Something that used to be good but turned sour the second it was exposed to real air. That night, I went to a small dive bar alone. Jason was busy, and I didn't feel like talking anyway. I sat at the bar, ordered a drink, and watched the muted TV overhead play some game I didn't care about. 2 stools down, a couple laughed. She leaned into him, smiling like there was nothing in the world but the two of them. It used to be like that for me and Emily. Before the rot. Before the lies. The bartender slid my drink across. You all right, man? I didn't answer right away. Then I said, yeah, I think I am. And for the first time, I meant it. Not in a fake-it-till-you-make-it way. Not as a reflex. But in a quiet, tired, earned kind of way. The kind that comes after the worst of the storm. When you finally realize you're still standing, the apartment was slowly starting to feel like mine. Not in the way a place becomes yours after years of memories, but in the way it does when you've had to strip everything back to the studs, when you choose the furniture, the curtains, the coffee mugs without considering someone else's taste. There was something oddly therapeutic about it. Picking out a lamp and realizing no one was going to say it didn't match. Hanging a framed print that meant something only to me. Freedom looked like that sometimes. Quiet. Understated. Absolutely mine. But healing? That wasn't quiet. It was jagged. Invasive. It came in bursts. Sometimes when I least expected it. Like when I opened a drawer and found a charger that still had a tiny sticker she'd put on it to claim it as hers. Or when I walked past a woman at the grocery store who wore her perfume and I froze just for a second, thinking I'd be face to face with the ghost of everything I'd lost. Except I hadn't lost her. I'd escaped her. The difference between those two things was becoming clearer every day. The divorce was in process. She hadn't contested anything yet. Maybe she wouldn't. Maybe her guilt or her need to keep up appearances would keep her from dragging it out. But I didn't bank on her being quiet for long. People like Emily don't fade away gently. They linger. They press. They find ways to insert themselves into spaces you're still trying to reclaim. And right on schedule, she found one. I got a call from my mother. She reached out to me, she said over the phone. No hello. No soft landing. Just straight into it. I closed my eyes. What did she say? That she's so sorry for the pain she's caused and that she never meant to come between us. My mom's voice was tight. Controlled. And then she asked if I could help her talk to you. Of course she did. Manipulation layered in sugar. Don't respond to her, I said. She's trying to work around the block. I know, my mom replied. I didn't. I'm just sorry, honey. I didn't say anything for a second. Just let the sound of her breath fill the line. My mother had always liked Emily. Hell, everyone did. That was the problem. She was charming when it suited her. Sweet. Polished. The kind of woman who made you feel lucky just to be in her orbit. Until you saw the mask slip. She's not who we thought she was, I finally said. I don't think she ever was. There was a pause. Then, softly, I believe you. And that mattered. More than I expected. After we hung up, I sat by the window of the apartment for a long time, watching cars crawl through the rain. I thought about how many versions of myself had died since that night. The version that believed her without question. The version that still defended her in silence. The version that thought maybe I had done something to deserve what she did. I didn't know exactly who I was becoming, but I knew who I wasn't anymore. I wasn't the man who made excuses for a woman who lied. I wasn't the man who took guilt in exchange for loyalty. I wasn't the man who sat quietly while someone rewrote the truth. That night, I took Emily's last voicemail, the one I'd saved, not out of sentiment, but as a reminder, and I deleted it. Not because I forgave her. Not because it didn't matter. But because it didn't define me anymore. She was no longer my burden. She was just a lesson I'd finally finished learning. A month had passed. It was strange how quickly a new routine took root even in the middle of emotional wreckage. I woke up alone. Ate alone. Slept alone. But for the first time in a long time, it didn't feel like loneliness, it felt like peace. There were no tense silences between two people pretending things weren't falling apart. No passive-aggressive remarks over dinner. No lies humming under the surface of every goodnight. It was quiet. And I was learning to like the quiet. I got back into things I'd shelved for years, hobbies I abandoned because she said they were a waste of time. I played guitar again. Badly, but it felt good. I started running, not to lose weight or punish myself, but to move. To breathe. To reclaim space in my own damn skin. But just when I thought the ground had finally stopped shifting beneath me, I got hit with something I didn't expect. I ran into him. It was a Sunday afternoon. I had gone to a coffee shop on the other side of town, someplace we'd never gone together, somewhere I thought was safe from ghosts. I was just walking out, cup in hand, headphones in, when I saw him coming in. Tall. Fitted t-shirt. Same stupid tattoos I recognized from that video call. I froze. He didn't. He walked past me like he didn't know who I was. And maybe he didn't. Maybe she hadn't told him. Maybe to him, I was just some ex she'd spun a sob story about. The cold, unloving husband who abandoned her emotionally, who left her with no choice but to look elsewhere for comfort. Or maybe he knew exactly who I was and just didn't care. Either way, I didn't speak. Didn't glare. Didn't flinch. I walked past him, got in my car, and sat there. Heart racing. It wasn't rage I felt. Not anymore. It was disbelief. That I'd once shared a life, a bed, a name with someone who could so casually destroy it, then keep walking like nothing happened. I didn't tell anyone about the run-in. Not Jason. Not my mom. It didn't matter. It was just another reminder of what I'd escaped. But that night, I'll admit it, I almost reached out. Not to her. To the version of her I missed. The one who didn't exist anymore. I sat there with my phone in my hand, screen glowing in the dark, thumb hovering over her name in my blocked list. And then I imagined what would happen if I did unblock her. She'd answer like nothing had changed. She'd say the right things. Cry maybe? Apologize again. Make promises she wouldn't keep. Try to inch her way back into my mind, my space, my heart. But I knew better now. I didn't want the illusion. I didn't want the high followed by the crash. I didn't want someone who only looked back because they saw the door closing. So I put the phone down. Went to bed. And when I woke up the next morning, for the first time since all of this began, I didn't think about her immediately. I thought about what I wanted for breakfast. I thought about how the air felt different now. I thought about me. Not us. Not her. Just me. And it felt like something real was finally beginning. There's this moment after the storm when everything finally stops moving. The wind dies. The chaos fades. You step outside expecting to see wreckage everywhere, and maybe there is, but it's quiet now. Still. And for the first time, you realize you survived it. That's where I am now. 2 months since that night. 2 months since I watched the woman I loved destroy everything with a single careless video call. Since I packed my bag and walked out of a house that used to feel like home. Since I stopped being a husband and started figuring out how to just be Tyler again. The divorce is finalized. No drama. No long court battles. Just a thin envelope in my mailbox, a signature, and a document that confirmed what I already knew. The chapter was closed. I didn't go out to celebrate. There was no wild night or symbolic burning of old photos. I just sat on my balcony with a beer in one hand and a book in the other, and I watched the sunset until the sky went soft and quiet. It was enough. People ask me sometimes now, mostly friends who've heard pieces of the story, if I'd take her back if she changed. If she begged. If she proved she was different. I don't even have to think about it. Because the truth is, she didn't just cheat on me. She betrayed me. Deeply. Strategically. Repeatedly. She didn't make a mistake, she made a choice. Over and over. And then when it came crashing down, she lied again. Twisted the story. Painted herself as the victim. It wasn't about love. It was about control. About manipulation. And the second I stopped giving her that control, she crumbled. That's how you know it was never real. Real love doesn't fall apart when you stop letting yourself be walked on. Real love doesn't use guilt as a leash. So no, I'd never take her back. I don't miss her. I miss who I thought she was. But that version of her? That version died long before I saw her with that guy. And me? I'm still healing. Still figuring things out. Some days I'm okay. Some days I'm bitter. Some nights I dream I'm still in that house, still trying to pretend things are normal. And I wake up sweaty and disoriented until I hear the silence around me and remember she's gone. And I'm grateful. You know, it's funny. For a while, I thought the hardest part was the betrayal. But it wasn't. The hardest part was forgiving myself for staying as long as I did. For ignoring the signs. For loving someone who stopped loving me and pretending that was enough. But I'm working on that. One honest morning at a time. So if you're reading this and you're where I was, confused, broken, doubting your own worth, listen to me. You are not crazy. You are not overreacting. And if someone's love only works when you're sacrificing parts of yourself to earn it, that's not love. That's control wrapped in a cheap disguise. Walk away. Run if you have to. There's peace waiting for you on the other side of the truth. I found mine. So can you. Tyler.